Bible in a Year, Day 165. Readings from the Holy Bible, the first book of Kings, chapters 14 and chapters 15 and 16. Second book of Chronicles, chapters 16 and 17. Song of Solomon, chapter 4. First book of Kings, chapter 15. Reign of Abijam. In the 18th year of King Jeroboam, son of Nebat, Abijam became king of Judah. He reigned 3 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name was Maacah, daughter of Abishalom. He followed all the sins his father had committed before him, and his heart was not entirely with the Lord his God, as was the heart of David his father. Yet for David's sake the Lord his God gave him a holding in Jerusalem, raising up his son after him and permitting Jerusalem to endure, because David had done what was right in the sight of the Lord and did not disobey any of his commands as long as he lived, except in the case of Uriah the Hittite. There was war between Rehoboam and Jeroboam all their days. The rest of the acts of Abijam with all that he did are recorded in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Judah. There was war between Abijam and Jeroboam. Abijam rested with his ancestors. They buried him in the city of David, and his son Asa succeeded him as king. Reign of Asa. In the 20th year of Jeroboam, king of Israel, Asa, king of Judah, became king. He reigned 41 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name was Maacah, daughter of Abishalom. Asa did what was right in the sight of the Lord, like David his father, banishing the pagan priests from the land and removing all the idols his ancestors had made. He also deposed his grandmother Maacah from her position as queen mother, because she had made an outrageous object for Asherah. Asa cut down this object and burned it in the Wadi Kidron. Yet the high places did not disappear, yet Asa's heart was entirely with the Lord as long as he lived. He brought into the house of the Lord his father's and his own votive offerings of silver and gold and various vessels. There was war between Asa and Baasha, king of Israel, all their days. Baasha, king of Israel, attacked Judah and fortified Ramah to blockade Asa, king of Judah. Asa then took all the silver and gold remaining in the treasuries of the house of the Lord and the house of the king, entrusting them to his ministers. King Asa sent them to Ben-Hadad, son of Tabrimon, son of Hezion, king of Aram, who ruled in Damascus. He said, "There is a treaty between you and me, as there was between your father and my father. I am sending you a present of silver and gold. Go break your treaty with Baasha, king of Israel, that he may withdraw from me." Ben-Hadad agreed with King Asa and sent the leaders of his troops against the cities of Israel. They attacked Ijon, Dan, Abel, Beth-Makkah, and all the Shinnereth, besides all the land of Naphtali. When Baasha heard of it, he left off fortifying Ramah and stayed in Tirzah. Then King Asa summoned all Judah without exception, and they carried away the stones and beams with which Baasha was fortifying Ramah. With them King Asa built Sheba of Benjamin and Mizpah. All the rest of the acts of Asa with all his valor and all that he did and the cities he built are recorded in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Judah. But in his old age Asa had an infirmity in his feet. Asa rested with his ancestors. He was buried with his ancestors in the city of David his father, and his son Jehoshaphat succeeded him as king. Reign of Nadab. Nadab, son of Jeroboam, became king of Israel in the 2nd year of Asa, king of Judah. For 2 years he reigned over Israel. He did what was evil in the Lord's sight, walking in the way of his father and the sin he had caused Israel to commit. Baasha, son of Ahijah of the house of Issachar, plotted against him and struck him down at Gibbethon of the Philistines, which Nadab and all Israel were besieging. Baasha killed him in the 3rd year of Asa, king of Judah, and succeeded him as king. Once he was king, he killed the entire house of Jeroboam, not leaving a single soul, but destroying Jeroboam utterly, according to the word of the Lord spoken through his servant Ahijah the Shilonite. Because of the sins Jeroboam committed and caused Israel to commit, by which he provoked the Lord, the God of Israel, to anger. The rest of the acts of Nadab with all that he did are recorded in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Israel. There was war between Asa and Baasha, king of Israel, all their days. Reign of Baasha. In the 3rd year of Asa, king of Judah, Baasha son of Ahijah became king of all Israel in Tirzah for 24 years. He did what was evil in the Lord's sight, walking in the way of Jeroboam, and the sin he had caused Israel to commit. Second Book of Chronicles, chapter 16. Asa's infidelity. In the 36th year of Asa's reign, Baasha, king of Israel, attacked Judah and fortified Ramah to block all movement for Asa, king of Judah. Asa then brought out silver and gold from the treasuries of the house of the Lord and the house of the king, and sent them to Ben-Hadad, king of Aram, who ruled in Damascus. He said, "There is a treaty between you and me, as there was between your father and my father. I am sending you silver and gold. Go break your treaty with Baasha, king of Israel, that he may withdraw from me." Ben-Hadad agreed with King Asa and sent the leaders of his troops against the cities of Israel. They attacked Ijon, Dan, Abel-Maim, besides all the store cities of Naphtali. When Baasha heard of it, he left off fortifying Ramah, putting an end to his work. Then King Asa commanded all Judah, and they carried away the stones and beams with which Baasha was fortifying Ramah. With them he fortified Jeba and Mizpah. At that time Hanani the seer came to Asa, king of Judah, and said to him, "Because you relied on the king of Aram and did not rely on the Lord your God, the army of the king of Aram has escaped your power. Were not the Ethiopians and Libyans a vast army with great numbers of chariots and horses? And yet, because you relied on the Lord, he delivered them into your power. The eyes of the Lord roam over the whole earth to encourage those who are devoted to him wholeheartedly. You have acted foolishly in this matter, for from now on you will have wars." But Asa became angry with the seer and imprisoned him in the stocks. So greatly was he enraged at him over this. Asa also oppressed some of his people at this time. Now the acts of Asa, first and last, are recorded in the book of the kings of Judah and Israel. In the 39th year of his reign, Asa contracted disease in his feet. It became worse, but even with this disease he did not seek the Lord, only physicians. Asa rested with his ancestors. He died in the 41st year of his reign. They buried him in the tomb he had hewn for himself in the city of David, after laying him on a couch that was filled with spices and various kinds of aromatics compounded into an ointment, and they kindled a huge fire for him. Chapter 17. Jehoshaphat's zeal for the Lord. His son Jehoshaphat succeeded him as king and strengthened his position against Israel. He placed armed forces in all the fortified cities of Judah and set garrisons in the land of Judah and in the cities of Ephraim, which Asa his father had taken. The Lord was with Jehoshaphat, for he walked in the earlier ways of David his father and did not seek the Baals. Rather, he sought the God of his father and walked in his commands and not the practices of Israel. Through him the Lord made the kingdom secure, and all Judah gave Jehoshaphat gifts, so that great wealth and glory was his. Thus he was encouraged to follow the Lord's ways, and once again he removed the high places and the Asherahs from Judah. In the 3rd year of his reign, he sent his officials Ben-Hail, Obadiah, Zechariah, Nathanael, and Micaiah to teach in the cities of Judah. With them he sent the Levites Shemaiah, Nethaniah, Zebadiah, Asahel, Shemiramoth, Jehonathan, Adonijah, and Tobijah, together with Elishama and Jehoram the priest. They taught in Judah, having with them the book of the law of the Lord. They travelled through all the cities of Judah and taught among the people his power. Now the fear of the Lord was upon all the kingdoms of the countries surrounding Judah, so that they did not war against Jehoshaphat. Some of the Philistines brought Jehoshaphat gifts and a tribute of silver. The Arabians also brought him a flock of 7,700 rams and 7,700 he-goats. Jehoshaphat grew even greater. He built strongholds and store cities in Judah. He carried out many works in the cities of Judah, and he had soldiers, valiant warriors in Jerusalem. This was their mustering according to their ancestral houses from Judah. The commanders of thousands, Adnah the commander, and with him 300,000 valiant warriors. Next to him Jehohanan the commander, and with him 280,000. Next to him Amasiah son of Zikri, who offered himself to the Lord, and with him 200,000 valiant warriors. From Benjamin Eliada, a valiant warrior, and with him 200,000 armed with bow and buckler. Next to him Jehozabad, and with him 180,000 equipped for war. These attended the king in addition to those whom the king had stationed in the fortified cities throughout all Judah. The word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. Song of Songs, chapter 4. How beautiful you are, my friend, how beautiful you are. Your eyes are doves behind your veil. Your hair is like a flock of goats streaming down Mount Gilead. Your teeth are like a flock of ewes to be shorn that come up from the washing, all of them big with twins, none of them barren. Like a scarlet strand your lips and your mouth lovely, like pomegranate halves your cheeks behind your veil. Like a tower of David your neck built in courses, 1,000 shields hanging upon it, all the armor of warriors. Your breasts are like two fawns, twins of a gazelle, feeding among the lilies until the day grows cool and the shadows flee. I shall go to the mountain of myrrh, to the hills of frankincense. You are beautiful in every way, my friend. There is no flaw in you. With me from Lebanon, my bride, with me from Lebanon come. Descend from the peak of Amanah, from the peak of Senir and Hermon, from the lairs of lions, from the leopard's heights. You have ravished my heart, my sister, my bride. You have ravished my heart with one glance of your eyes, with one bead of your necklace. How beautiful is your love. My sister, my bride, how much better is your love than wine, and the fragrance of your perfumes than any spice. Your lips drip honey, my bride, honey and milk are under your tongue, and the fragrance of your garments is like the fragrance of Lebanon. The lover's garden, a garden enclosed, my sister, my bride, a garden enclosed, a fountain sealed. Your branches are a grove of pomegranates with fruits of choicest yield, henna with spikenard and saffron, sweet cane and cinnamon with all kinds of frankincense, myrrh and aloes with all the finest spices, a garden fountain, a well of living water, streams flowing from Lebanon. Awake, north wind, come, south wind, blow upon my garden, that its perfumes may spread abroad. Let my lover come to his garden and eat its fruits of choicest yield. Glory be to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, as it was in the beginning, is now, and ever shall be, world without end. Amen.